Hi everybody and welcome back to Keep It in the Family, episode number 22 I believe. I'm your host Laurie and joining me in the building today I've got my lovely niece Kenya.
Yes.
What you say, man?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. Yeah, I'm okay.
We're here on better circumstances in the last 5
Yeah,
weeks.
you could say that, definitely. So let's get to it. With Liverpool already cruised to the title with 4 games to go. Yesterday Arsenal was hoping to secure second place.
Yep.
The battle of the rest, as it were, battle of second place.
Yeah.
Arsenal at home to Newcastle at the Emirates. The winner, as I said, rising to the ascendancy of second. And the backdrop to this game is that Arsenal, unfortunately, Kenya, had not done very well against Newcastle this season. Played them 3 times,
not
lost
even
all
scored.
3, hadn't scored a goal. So it was important that we put things right.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I was at the game and I'm happy to say that we reversed that trend. A 1-0 win, courtesy of an excellent strike by Declan Rice.
Beautiful.
Highlight of the game. I've got to say, highlight of a game that was suffering for highlights, I've got to say. It was it was a weird game. I mean, it was Arsenal's last game of the season. I would have thought that the atmosphere would have been jumping, but I wouldn't say it was that at all. It was a little bit subdued given the magnitude of the game, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously went, so you've got a better view of it than I do, but I just even feel like the way both teams played as well, like even Newcastle, I was quite surprised there was just no real intensity from either team. Like they kind of coasted throughout the game, to be honest. And I don't know, I can't really remember, other than the goal, there was nothing memorable and a little fight at the end.
Even that, I mean, Miles Lewis-Skelly was laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was hardly like...
And even, to be honest, he wasn't even the one really involved. It was Dan Burn and Kai Havertz. They always fight each other. Have you noticed that?
No.
And every time we've played Newcastle and them two on the pitch, they fight each other. Do you not remember this? I don't know what it is with these two.
I know there was a couple of seasons ago where Kai Havertz nearly got sent off.
Yeah.
I think that was against
I don't know what it is about these two. They always got a little beef or something. But yeah, I mean, it was
that Joe Linton weren't playing.
Oh my God, man, the tugs, as I say. But you're right.
But yeah, I mean, the highlight of the game, without doubt, was that 55-minute strike from Declan Rice. Brilliant goal. That goal was kind of reminiscent of the goal that Mourinho scored against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Same kind of goal.
Yeah.
Well done to Declan Rice. He rescued that game.
Rescued the game, like he does with most games.
Well, yeah,
like
you could argue that.
Like he does with most games, honestly.
And so that was that. But probably a more bigger talking point was after the game. The manager, I mean, it was Arsenal's last home game of the season, so it's customary that the players and the manager do their little walk of appreciation, which they did. And then after, the manager was invited to address the crowd, which he did, took the mic. And he said, I'm going to paraphrase because obviously, I can't remember what he said verbatim. But basically he was saying that the club has a dream to chase trophies and the fans and the club should not be blurred by that dream, by what had happened this season. And I think he was referring to the injuries. He was saying that given things that had happened throughout the season, to finish second is basically saying quite an achievement. Now, that got a lot of people talking after the game because obviously there's going to be some people saying he's making excuses about the injuries. Yeah. But then a lot of other people thought, you know what, he does have a point. I mean, I think it's fair to say that Arsenal have been adversely affected by injuries this season. I mean, at the last count, I think it's something like 26 injuries or 27.
Yeah, I think it's gone up now because he said after that game as well that William Saliba felt something in his hamstring.
Yeah,
so it's that's another person added on.
So it's either 26 or 27 injuries, depending on which way you want to go with it. And injuries, let's face it as well, to key players. I mean, Tomiyasu, I've hardly seen him this season. Gabriel Jesus, significant injury. Kai Havertz, significant injury. Gabriel Magalhaes, significant injury. Gabriel Martinelli was out for quite a while. Yeah. Declan Rice has had injuries.
Toes.
Yeah.
Mikel Merino, fractured shoulder.
Timber, Trossard, Ben White, all key players in the team, all suffering injuries, some of them serious. The implication is clear. The manager feels that the injuries have adversely affected the season, and had it not been for the injuries, we could have done a lot better, maybe even won a trophy or two. So I guess my initial question to you, Kenya, is do you have empathy with that? Or do you think he's making excuses?
I think two things can be true. I think on one hand, the level of injuries we've had the most injuries in the league. And I think, as you can see, the majority of those injuries are very serious injuries. We're talking ACL, we're talking torn hamstrings, do you know what I mean? Broken toes, broken shoulder. Like, these are all very serious injuries that, you know, you don't just bounce back from in about a week's time or 2 weeks' time. It's your 5 weeks, your months. You know, we're talking about our best players out for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Kai Havertz is out for over 100 days.
Yeah.
So, you know, yes, those injuries have been, you know, I think one of the main issues. And you look at, like, you know, you look at some of the other teams. Look at Liverpool last season. Mo Salah was out for I think after AFCON he had an injury. He was out for 2 months, and they were 10 points clear of us, and that completely derailed their title charge, and they finished third. So you see how important those type of players are. When you're missing your key players, it does have a massive impact on how you perform. But what I would say to that as well is I went to that FA Cup game against Man United, and Gabby Magalhaes played. He scored. Martin played. Kai Havertz played. I don't know about Saka. Can't remember.
Saka he was out because he'd got injured a few weeks before at the Crystal Palace game.
I think Declan Rice played in that game. Like, do you know what I mean? For me, there's no excuses in the Carabao Cup. There's no excuses in the FA Cup.
I'm not sure if Saka played.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I think Sterling came on.
Right.
But, like, for me, in those competitions where, like, you actually could have advanced further, I can't really say, yes, we had people out, but those teams are still good enough to beat 10 Men United at home, but we still didn't do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, to a degree, those things are right, but I also look at the level of discipline this season. 6 red cards. Like, some of those red cards were avoidable. Some of those don't get me wrong, there's some of them where I think that's a disgraceful decision, and I think there's even been penalties look at that penalty against Saliba at Brighton. We've never seen that ever again. Like, I can't say that penalty of a clash of heads, we've never seen anything like that ever again in the Prem. Like, what is that? And I can say all those things, but I can also say, actually, did this player need to do that? Did this player need to drag down this player? Do you know what I mean? What about all these silly mistakes against Crystal Palace at home where we're cruising 2-1, just switched off? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's nuances to it. It's not as plain and simple as, oh yeah, we've had all these injuries, that's the reason why. It is a massive factor. It's probably about 80% of the reason why.
As much as 80 then, you'd say, yeah? Yeah,
but I'd also say as well, January, you had a chance to buy people, get people on loan, failed to do it. Like, we've actually had a lot of chances to kind of rectify these situations, and we refused to. So I actually have zero sympathy for when I hear the manager say these things. I don't really care. Can't lie. I'm tired of hearing about it.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, no one's really going to cut him too much slack, because at the end of the day, we haven't won anything this season, and that is what is going to resonate with people. But, I mean, you are right. I mean, two things can be true at the same time. Injuries have definitely played a part, but people will also say that injuries are an inherent part of football. Yeah, and it's not just Arsenal that are afflicted. I mean, you could speak to any number of Premier League clubs. I mean, Tottenham just down the road.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what, you have to, when you look at other teams like Spurs who've had a lot of injuries as well, I mean, they're in 17th. And you have to give credit, because it's like, how has this team stayed second with a fully fit Chelsea, and with Chelsea and, I don't know, Newcastle and Aston Villa, all these other teams breathing down their neck? How have we actually been able to stay second for for basically the whole part of the season? It's actually quite miraculous that we've been able to do that. But it's also just like, we've kind of set ourselves up here because we knew that going into the season, this was our thinnest ever squad. And instead of trying to rectify those issues, we just sat back and were like, oh yeah, we've got enough cover in defence, which is our only covered area really. And then we've missed out massively up front, and it's cost us a lot.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the case in point is the January transfer window, when we, you know, to all intents and purposes, could have strengthened. The club were linked with Ollie Watkins, and then all of a sudden he wasn't.
Watkins, Asensio, that we could have got. Look how good he's been at Villa. Kolo Muani, look how good he's been at Juventus. He's helped them get back into the top 4. Like, these are all players that we could have looked at, and we just decided, actually, no, we don't want to spend anything. We don't want to really look at it. We've got Kai Havertz, we've got Saka. What happens? Literally a day after the window closes, Kai Havertz tears his hamstring. Like, that should sum it up in the window, you have an ACL. Like, what more do you need to know? An ACL, that's the most serious injury that you could get in football. And we still just said, that's enough. Like, I don't...
Yeah, I mean, when you look back at that January, I mean, listen,
it's disastrous.
People like myself were saying right at the start of the summer that we needed a struggle. If we were going to win something major this season, a lot of people, myself included, were saying it was down to whether we could bring a striker in.
Yeah.
The manager seemed to, say that Havertz, he was happy with Havertz. And listen, Havertz has been good for Arsenal overall, but we felt, a lot of the fan base felt that we needed somebody to come in and help bolster. Because listen, Kai Havertz is a good player, but I'm going to keep it real. For me, he's not a 20-goal a season man. He's never done that in his entire career. Yeah. He's not going to start now for me. They should have addressed that. They didn't. Not only did we not address that, we didn't bring anybody in. Yeah. And I thought that
I just think last season should have been an even more perfect reason as to why we should have bolstered that attacking line. Look how close we were to winning the league with non-attackers, essentially. Like, we were literally 2 points from winning the league with a guy that's not even a striker. Imagine if you had just gone and got it. Imagine if you'd actually just gone and rectified the situation. Imagine if you'd actually gone and got another type of winger to help out in that area. We didn't. We sat back. And that's why when I hear about injuries, yes, that's true. But you also have to take into account how the club has dealt with this whole season. We sat there and we watched ourselves get knocked out of 2 cups within a space of a week. And we just sat there and we're like, yeah, we don't need anything. Like, what is, like, is that, are we, like, that's why when I heard the speech, I just felt like it's fair, but it's a bit of a cop-out, if I'm being honest. Like,
a bit of word salad.
Yeah, literally. Bit of a word salad.
So what do you say to those people, and there's quite a few people that are saying that, look, Arsenal's injuries are recurring. Every year we get like these hamstring injuries. Is it something to do with the way our players are training? What would you say to that? I mean, there has been a school of thought that suggests that we may need to look closer at what the players are doing in training and how they, their workload and stuff like that. How the manager manages the rotate or lack thereof. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people say he doesn't rotate the players enough. What do you say to that?
No, I think it's a mixture of things. I think, number one, we don't rotate the team enough. Like, why is Timber playing every game? I feel like there's been so many games where actually we could have given Timber or Partey, or we could have rotated players. We didn't. Like, same with Saka. Why is Saka playing every game? Like, I was seeing Saka come on against Bolton Wanderers. Why is Saka coming on against Bolton, against Preston? Like, he shouldn't even be in the squad. Yeah. He should be at home. He should be at home chilling. Like, he shouldn't even be in the squad. We need to rotate the team more. But there's no reason why we've bought all the squad depth, especially in defensive areas, and we don't want to rotate it. Now, I guess in a way, you can say Tomiyasu's been injured. Ben White for the second half of the season has basically been out. He's only just coming back. Who else am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting. Zinchenko and Tierney have also had their injury issues. So I guess you could make arguments. But
I mean, with Saka as well, I mean, it's strange. I don't want to digress into something else here, but we've not seen Ethan Neri now for what seems like weeks.
Ethan yesterday, why couldn't Ethan have come on for Saka? Saka yesterday just looked so knackered. He didn't really look up for it yesterday, if I'm being honest. Like, yeah,
he didn't have one of his better games yesterday. He kind of flitted in and out. Yeah, I would have expected to see Wayne. We've not seen Wayne for a few weeks now.
I can't remember last time I've seen him.
I'm struggling to understand why that might be.
Maybe before Madrid. I'm not even joking. I generally cannot remember the last time I've seen Ethan play a game. Because he didn't play against Ipswich. Even that. He should be playing against Ipswich, and you just.
But didn't he? I think he played against.
Actually, he came on. He came on.
That's
for
the last time we
5
saw
minutes,
him.
and he scored. He scored. Like, I just think, yes, we need to rotate the team more. We need to look at training. What I would say is these pulling, like, actual tearing of hamstrings and stuff. We've never had that before. Timber's ACL last season was just really unlucky, and also, like, we have to start looking at this doctor that we have. Like, we got him from Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace were also known for having a lot of hamstring injuries, a lot of torn hamstrings. Look at Eze and Elise. And he's kind of joined, I don't want to put it out, but he's joined the club. Now all of a sudden hamstrings are getting torn. Like, what's that? We need to start looking at all these things.
Yeah, definitely. The club will have to, when they appraise the season, I mean, obviously there's one game left, but once the close season comes and they start to appraise the performance, I'm sure they'll look at all of that. But definitely that has been a talking point over the last couple of seasons, actually, about Arsenal's injury record. It does seem to be quite high compared to some of the other clubs. And like I said, I don't want to make too many excuses on that front because, you know, Man City, Tottenham, Aston Villa, a whole host of clubs have had injuries this season, so it's not just Arsenal. But
I think these players as well, sorry to cut you, they also play way too much. Like Declan Rice played every minute of the Euros, he played every minute in all competitions for us, really. Like, he just needs rest. Like, these players need rest.
Yeah,
I just think there's so much football as well.
There is, and listen, next season, you know, those things will need to be addressed because, I mean, we're going to do another video about this once the season is done. But listen, people will be asking questions.
The hard stuff.
About, the hard stuff about what needs to happen in the close season because, you know, we cannot go another season trophyless. I just don't think that's going to be sustainable. I was at the game yesterday speaking to the fans after the game. You know, a few of them were saying point blank, Kenya, that if we don't win anything, there might have to be a change in personnel in terms of the manager. Oh, you're with them, right?
Yeah, I'm with them as well. I'm sorry, like, this is no disrespect, but we are a big club. We are supposed to win. It's a given. It's what you are, like, this is what you're supposed to do. It's not, like, I'm sorry, I know people talk, we're here for the journey and that. I'm sorry, I don't want to look back at a season and say, oh yeah, my best part of the season was when we beat Real Madrid 3-0 or when we beat Man City 5-1. I want to say, oh, my best part of the season is when we slapped up Real Madrid and then went on to win the Champions League, or we slapped up Man City and we went on to win the Premier League. That's what I want to say. I don't want to be, oh yeah, I'm just happy because we're close. No. If anything, that's more annoying to me.
And
it's
presumably
more
you
annoying
would have
that
felt
you're
a little
so
bit jealous on Saturday watching Palace win the FA Cup.
Exactly.
I know I was thinking, we should be doing this,
like,
or at least be in the final.
Yeah, we should be in the final. Like, I should be able to say I'm going Wembley with my dad and my uncle. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is that? I'm with them. If next season there's nothing, there has to be change. Like, you can't sit back and just allow this, I don't know, what's the word? This shouldn't be normal. Sorry, that's not how big clubs operate. And that's how you see so many clubs that were big clubs. Like, Everton's a perfect example. Everton used to be a massive club that used to win the league. Now look where they are because they just became complacent with not wanting to win, being okay with just having big moments and glory moments. We really shouldn't be that. Simple. That's how I feel.
Okay then, so to sum up, in conclusion, I would say that Kenya agrees with me that whilst we agree with the manager that injuries have adversely affected Arsenal's season, there are also other arguments at play here in terms of the way the manager rotates the squad, recruitment and retention. We didn't recruit back in January, especially when we needed to. And there's also the rotation issue. We don't think that the squad's been rotated sufficiently. You can look at the tactics as well, the way we play in certain games. All of these things have played a part, not just the injuries. So I think it's too simplistic to just put it all on the injuries. But I'm going to cut the manager a little bit of slack because, as I said, the stats are clear. Arsenal have been adversely affected. Like I said, 27 injuries, many of those to key players. So, you know, I mean, you can't help but think, had the injuries been not so bad, then that might have played in our favour. We might have won something. You know what I mean?
Not saying that we would have won the league, but we'd be much closer.
And do you think that finishing second, given all those injuries, is
of course. It's actually, like I said, I think
credit of the team.
You have to give the manager credit in that sense of, like, it's actually quite miraculous that you can have all these injuries to key players and still finish very high up the table. Like, look at our top 6 rivals. Two of them are battling for the top 5. The other 2 are relegation follow, essentially. So you have to give credit in the sense of, like, I don't know how you've pulled it out the bag, but it's good enough that you've gotten to there and you've secured the Champions League despite all of the injuries. But there's also mitigating circumstances.
Yep, that's right. There's mitigating circumstances. However, football is brutal. It's a cold, hard world. And a lot of the fans don't want to be hearing about excuses. Certainly the ones I was speaking to yesterday saying, but every club has them and we should have done this, we should have done that. So people are not trying to hear it. You know what I mean? All they want is trophies.
I'm not really against them.
What I will say is this time next year, no one ain't going to be trying to hear no excuses about injuries. So even if you allow him, you cut him some slack this season, I guarantee you now, people, based on what I'm hearing, based on the stuff I'm seeing online, based on the likes of what Kenya's saying, the excuse thing ain't going to run next season.
Ain't going to run.
But there. But anyway, Kenya.
Yes.
Thanks so much for coming on and sharing those opinions with us. Thanks so much to you guys for watching and supporting the channel, LL Sports TV. If you're new here, like I always say, please like, share and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. We're out. Take care.